We're going to be talking about coffee beans and the little bits of information you need to know so that you can make better decisions and better calls in terms of making better coffee at home. So first of all, what we're going to do is I'm going to ask you to take a moment quickly and go to your kitchen and get yourself a little handful of coffee beans. You don't need a lot. I'll give you a moment. The first thing I want you to do is something you've probably never done is I want you to eat this bean. Tell me what you think. You get a lot of flavor out of it. It's probably something you never really thought about. So that's just out of interest. The second thing I want to show you is I'm going to take a roasted coffee bean, wham it in here, and break it. You see? It is now, it's dust powder. You take a green bean, do the same thing. Still a bean, that's how hard it is. But today we're going to be focusing on a French press or plunger, whatever you want to call it. It's pretty straightforward. You probably have one in your house, and that's probably the main reason I'm wanting to talk about this. But let's jump into grinding. Alright, so you have different types of grinds because you have different ways of brewing coffee. How it works is that when you put hot water onto coffee, it starts to draw the flavor of the bean out, alright? But now what happens is that when you have a very coarse grind, like what I have here, you probably can't see it, but if I put it in between my fingers, you can feel almost like bigger pieces of coffee in it, which is kind of what you want for a plunger, alright? What it means is that the longer time a coffee bean is in contact with water, it draws out flavor, right? So the bigger the grind, the longer the period of time you need water contact. If you have a smaller grind, you need less contact time with the bean. Alright, so then that means that, so let's say we're talking about a espresso, so you have a espresso machine, and that's only 25 seconds of water to bean contact time to make an excellent tasting product. But if you were to put beans and hot water in here for 25 seconds, you're gonna have a very, very bad tasting coffee on that later stage. So then in this one we have what you would use for a Turkish coffee, which is, it is practically powder. See how when I put it on my fingers, it actually stays on my finger because it's that fine, all right? So how do you get coffee grinds at home, all right? If you buy coffee grinds at home, they're going to go stale really quickly. A coffee bean has got gases in it. And so what happens is that when you grind it up, it degasses much quickly because there's more surface area. And so when you're buying coffee and you're buying coffee grounds and it's already ground, it goes stale within a week. There is very little value in that, and that's why if you're really wanting to have better coffee at home at not much more of a price or a cost, the way to do it is to just always buy coffee beans. If you can buy coffee beans that are not old or too stale, that would also be ideal. So most coffee bags have got a date on the bottom of them or somewhere on them that tells you the roast date. If you can get beans within, let's say, 3 months of them being roasted, you have a much better chance at this. If you can get it within the first month of them being roasted, that's even better chance. So, for instance, these beans, and here you probably can't see them very well, they were roasted on the 16th of last month, so that's like 20 days ago. Some people don't like coffee beans once they've just been roasted because they have a different kind of taste, whereas some people want you to leave their beans for about a week to 10 days for them to actually taste ideal. This is a flat blade grinder from a NutriBullet. See, there's just a flat blade that spins. You can get all sorts of devices that are intended for coffee, so this isn't actually designed for coffee, but it would work, alright? So there's a flat blade grinder, which sometimes they come in a little device and you chuck your coffee in, you put your lid on, you hit the button and it spins and it grinds the beans. Alright, that's great, it's quick, it's convenient. But the problem with it is that there's no consistency, and to make good coffee at home, it's all about consistency. So it's about how much coffee you put in the grinder. So generally speaking, you should go at about 16 mils of water to every gram of coffee. So if you kind of rough that out, it's about 20 grams of coffee per cup, which thankfully a coffee scoop is roughly 20 grams of coffee. So you don't really need to worry about that too much, but it's 1 scoop per person. And if you have too much contact time, you're going to have a very burnt taste. If you have too little contact time, you're going to have a very watery taste because it hasn't really drawn for the right length of time. Then you get something called a burr grinder. So this is a burr grinder. I bought this in 2013. So it has been with me for many, many years. It's still working 100% perfect as it is. And it is what I would recommend any day. I would buy another one of these tomorrow if it broke. So I don't know how much detail you can see there, but so you throw your coffee inside here and there is a round device that turns and crushes the beans. Why this is fantastic is that you can set exactly how big or how small you want to grind. So you can grind stuff to the fineness of a Turkish coffee. You can grind stuff to the fineness for a plunger coffee. You can control exactly what you want and it stays the same every time, which is coming back to consistency. So I could grind 1 kilogram of beans in here. It'll take me a long time. So we spoke about size of grind and we spoke about temperature. So if you've ever heard of a cold press coffee or a drip coffee or whatever the case is, it's coffee made with no heat. So because we were saying that the smaller the grind, the less contact time we have with hot water. So what if we use cold water? Pretty much what I'm saying is that you can do a cold brew coffee with large coffee grinds, which means we're going to have to have a very long contact time. So let's say you want to make cold coffee, you've never really done it before, you can grab one of these, you can put 4 scoops of coffee, so that's 80 grams of coffee into here, then fill it up to the top with cold water, leave the plunger at the top, and leave that overnight in your kitchen while you're sleeping for 12 hours. You can plunger it down, pour it into whatever device you want, and you've got cold coffee. So you can get it to work and you can enjoy that. And then what you can do is that if you want to make hot coffee, let's say there's 2 of you take 2 scoops, you're going to put 500 mils of hot water in here and you're going to leave it for 4 minutes. Because if you leave it for the whole night at hot water, you're going to have a very, very bitter. Because generally if coffee goes from hot to cold, it goes bitter. But because we're doing cold press, it was never hot to begin with, so it never goes bitter. If you want, you can heat it up or you can add hot water to it, in which case you'd have a really nice coffee. And yeah, let me know what you think of your cold press and if you do actually do it. Arabica beans are more expensive, so when you find a bag that is 100% Arabica, it's all the same and it's all slightly, well, it should be higher quality bean compared to you might find something that's 80% Arabica and 20% Robusta. What they're trying to do is that they're trying to drop their costs and they're trying to make a bag that has a stronger coffee taste, but it will be lower quality and you'll see the price, it will be cheaper. Thanks for watching and I hope that was useful or helpful in some way. I'd love some feedback on this video. It's obviously one of my first few videos and I want to hear what you think. Yeah, let me know if there's anything else specifically on coffee that you would like to talk about. Happy to discuss whatever it is you would like to talk about and yeah, look forward to seeing you guys again.